This is episode 135 of Zen and the Art of Real Estate Investing with my guest, Denis Shapiro. Denis started investing in real estate in 2012, created a diversified portfolio of ATM funds, mobile home parks, life insurance policies, tech startups, industrial property, several other things. He leveraged those into a lot of success, ended up launching SIH Capital Group, which he is the managing partner of. He also has a book, The Alternative Investment Almanac, Expert Insights on Building Personal Wealth in Non-Traditional Ways. Denis, welcome to the show.
Jonathan, thank you so much for getting that done and having me on. I really appreciate being here.
Yeah, no, me too. I'm excited to talk to you about your experience and the diversified assets that you've invested in. But when you were younger growing up, when was the first time that you remember being interested in real estate?
So the first time I was around 14, my oldest brother gave me a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. The funny story is I hated the book.
14's pretty young for it.
Yeah, I didn't have the right mindset for it, but I also thought he was like a hypocrite where I thought he was probably making more money on his like book tours. And
That's fair. That's smart though.
So
Yeah.
I took it with a grain of salt. 10 years later, I revisited the book and had a very, very different viewpoint. And it actually, that book, I not Rich Dad Poor Dad, but Cash Flow Quadrants, when I was leaving my W-2 was incredibly influential. Like reading it like for the fourth time, I don't know why, just cemented me actually leaving my W-2 at that point. But so the first time was at 14. My brother gave me a copy of Rich Dad Poor Dad. I did take away from that book that I should start investing into something.
Yeah.
I started with stocks, bonds. At that time, it was actually like mutual funds were all the rage. And then I kind of went the whole route where I wanted to be like the next Warren Buffett, went to business school, got my MBA, still kind of in the financial crisis, started working for the government. And then when I got my first paycheck, I realized that they were not only my employer, they were also my business partner. With the amount of taxes they would get taken out.
I had the exact same experience.
And then, because, when I was working my high school, college days, like you don't really pay a lot of taxes as, someone who's making 10 grand a year.
Right. It's also exciting because you're getting money. It's just like free money.
But when you get that first real paycheck after your salary and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's a lot of going to deductions. So that's when I kind of got into the whole real estate rabbit hole, the whole bigger pockets thing. And then I did it the wrong way for a really long time. And then last couple of years has been a very different story. But yeah, so 14 was stocks. And then at 22, when I got my first job, that was when I really got into real estate.
Do you think that part of that point of view that you have and what you want to depart is also why you like a real diversified portfolio? Because I know we'll get into that. I've always been an advocate of that, including real estate. And I think real estate can be super diversified with a lot of assets that you've owned. But what's your attraction to that, keeping it so diversified and not all the eggs in one basket?
So the simple answer is that I've learned that assets have very specific characteristics. And when you try to impose characteristics, like if you try to impose cash flow into the stock asset, like it's bad news. Like I've invested in stocks since I was 14. I still invest in stocks. I have a collateralized account, which then I use to invest in real estate. But I've learned that stocks are incredible equity multipliers. If you don't touch them, if you don't sell into panics, whatever it is, it could be very, it could be very passive. You're not talking to the CEO. You don't have to do much networking. You buy a good index fund, you leave it, and it will do its job, which is equity appreciation. Now,
if you just leave it alone, though,
if you just leave it alone, right? If you don't panic, if you don't, go to barbecues and get financial advice from your uncle while grilling, it could be a great wealth builder. And as long as you don't sell and you learn to collateralize it, it's somewhat tax friendly. Great. But now you look at the cash flow side of it and it's terrible. A good index fund will pay you 1% to 2%. If you try to get dividend stocks, they usually underperform a good index fund. And then when the market is down, the algorithms bring those down as well. So what I've learned is by having a good equity portfolio, that will accomplish a lot of my appreciation. Now, when I get into the alternative sides, that's the side that, like, if it's like a pie chart, that's the side that I want a lot of cash flow from. And then, modest equity appreciation. And that's what I find alternative investments to be perfect in. So it's
Yeah.
like the marriage of the two work really, really well. So it's because I'm really greedy. I want in my portfolio, I want cash flow and I want appreciation. And
Yeah.
the only way I figured out how to do it is by combining different asset classes and taking the strengths of one and complementing it with the strengths of the other.
Yeah, is that what changed in the dynamic of lower income properties or affordable housing, that you had a team in place who could really assist with the management and vetting of the larger scale properties, and more scale, of course, helps.
It's a scale. Yeah. At the end of the day, it's the scale, the fact that you have a main person on site and you have a manager, and I can really oversee the manager and go high level on things. I'm not the one going out there for police evictions and for police calls and eviction
Yeah.
calls, all of that stuff. So it's a very different story. And also, what ends up happening is when you deal with affordable housing at scale, you are actually assigned the vouchers for the property. So in addition to some of the tenants having their own vouchers, you would actually have vouchers. And then what ends up happening is that creates leverage between you and the tenants, where the tenants understand that if they are evicted, they actually will lose that voucher
Yeah.
for it. And that allows you to get really higher quality tenants. So there's very different levels of low income housing. And there's basically, the joke is you never see a class D property, right? Because everything is class C, but
Yeah.
there's true like class C minus type of low income housing. And then there's the type that we do. And if you drive into it, it looks like a class B property.
Yeah.
It's townhouses. They each have parking spots. They have dishwashers in the units. There's a kids playground over there. And that's what
Yeah.
we like to deal with. And we usually have like 100% occupancy for, last year, I think we averaged 98 to 100% occupancy with a huge
Yeah.
waiting list.
That goes to upkeep and management, though, because someone could be in the management position to acquire that property, but then just not upkeep it, and then it defeats the whole purpose of what you're trying to do. Because that's what we're missing is affordable housing in America. This is the good kind where the upkeep's there. You're trying to make it, like you said, look like a B, but it just happens to be in a C minus area, but you still treat it like something higher.
Well, the area is actually excellent as well. So, you can get that. It's just affordable housing usually, there's certain compliance issues that scare away a lot of other operators.
Right.
A lot
Right.
of the imbalance between supply and demand is that, for example, like if you would say like, hey, how do I find a Texas syndication of a, multifamily? You could just, there's thousands of
Yeah.
syndicators in that space, or Florida
Specific for Texas, for
or
sure.
Carolinas, but
Yeah.
you look at how many operators are dealing with affordable housing, the list shrinks to, 1/100th of that. You have to be pre-approved by the state before acquiring the property. There's
Yeah.
so much that goes into it. And we love it because all that red tape creates a barrier of entry, which you
Yeah.
usually won't find in commercial real estate.
Yeah, and then I think the more experience you get in a niche product that you already know how to do, the more opportunity you will have, because other people can't do it or they can't catch up to you in what you're doing.
Exactly. And affordable housing is one of the more unique niches because a lot of times the developers who built the property have relationships with the people they want to sell to. I've heard so many stories where, a property would go to a broker and they get best and final, they get a high price for the
Yeah.
property.
Yeah.
And then the state doesn't approve the buyer.
Right.
The state says this person doesn't have enough affordable housing experience, and it's just a huge waste of time for the developer and the whole nine. So some developers won't ever even list with their broker. They have their list of buyers like us. They'll just go directly to us. If we could figure out a price that works, great. So their true off market deals, I feel like are more, um, they're more there's more volume of off-market deals in the affordable housing space than there are in other niches.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people that I know getting more and more into private lending as a smart addition to their business cycle, like you said. What's so attractive in that game for you as one of those three pillars that you guys are so focused on now?
So the answer is going to be the partnership team that we have for that division. That's someone we worked together with for about 6 years now. Actually, no less. A little bit right after COVID. So about 3-4 years now.
Yeah.
So we have a great relationship with them. They source deals in Ohio. Like I'm in New Jersey, where the average house price is $500,000, $600,000, $700,000.
I'm here with you. It's fun.
They're out there, and I could build a whole private lending portfolio for 500, 600, 700,000. So
Right.
one of the benefits is it's not me sourcing the deals. I'm partnering with someone who's extremely diligent. He's got his own network. He's great at just getting us deals. We're always in first position.
Yeah.
We know we also have the systems in place down there as we have a portfolio in Ohio. We know that if we need to take that property, we have the ability to take it, send our mains guy there, let him finish it up, and then we could sell it on our end. So we feel really safe being in first position, lending it to the same people, and being in the market that we already are. And then we're getting, our income fund is receiving about 13% in returns from the private lending side of things. The rest is getting split with the person who's sourcing us the loans. So we feel like the returns are comparable, and the risk return profile, I think, is just better than some of these more creative deals.